FoundHer Future is a collective, a space, a place where women can come to find resources to recover, reset, and or rebrand, from corporate burnout and or never have to experience it in the first place. Hey y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you 3 things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a Black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back, girl. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sis. All right, this is a safe space for Black women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued. Sis, I want you to know we have room for you here, okay? I am your host, Shekinah, and this is absolutely one of my favorite places to be. Welcome to the sisterhood, okay? This is a community built on conversation. So it's not about me just yapping and talking into the mic, which is what I tend to do most of the time. But I want to hear from you. So if you have a timeline topic, a Let's Talk topic, or a question that you want discussed on the podcast, you can email me at the Let's Talk Sis pod at gmail.com and we will get into the things, okay? So the Let's Talk Sis podcast is all about promoting authenticity in conversation so that we can heal, grow, and inspire our audience. So if you love what we are doing here, you can support us and help keep the conversations going, okay? So we've made it super easy for you to support the pod. The first way that you can support, it costs you nothing, okay? It is engagement. I need you to like the episodes, comment, subscribe, share, and if you don't know what to say, you can always leave some purple heart emojis or sparkles in the comments. Those are always welcome. All right. The more you guys engage with the episodes, the better I will perform on the algorithm. And that helps us connect with the people who need to find us. All right. Who need to be a part of the sisterhood so we can keep growing. And speaking of growth, you can also support us by sharing the podcast with people that you know. All right. As I mentioned, we are building a community, so I need you to help me connect with the right people. And last but most certainly not least, child. All right. You can support Let's Talk Sis on a monetary level. So you can send us a Cash App at KindaTay8, or you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Let's Talk Sis. All the details are in the show notes. All right. Whatever you do choose, just know that your support helps us to grow the team, improve content, and keep the mission moving forward. Every contribution, from comments to cash, make a real difference and help us build community together, brick by brick. All right. So I thank you guys for all that you do. All right. Now the details, the preliminaries out the way. Let's get into the things, y'all. It is time for our timeline topic of the week. All right, y'all. So I'm scrolling through my timeline and I'm just get into my business with y'all. All right, let me play the clip.
If you find that your hips keep cramping every time you come into a position like this, I'm not sure what you get into a position like this for. Whatever activity kind of requires this kind of positioning, maybe like riding a jet ski or a motorcycle or a horse maybe, then your hips are tight and I can help you fix that. But often when your hips are tight, you think that you need to do more pigeon, more of this. But for that positional activity specifically, you need good internal rotation at the hip. This is external rotation. This is internal rotation. So what you're actually feeling is not a cramp. It's the end of your range of motion in that deep internal rotation, that you feel deep in the hip capsule. So I have 2 stretches for you that you could do every day, or you could do them every second day. The first is a quad stretch, not just any quad stretch, one that mimics the position that your leg is going to be in, because tightness in our quadriceps also creates limitations that travel up into our hips as well. I like this position as well because it also helps to stretch the front of the foot, which is usually just a neglected area of flexibility work that will benefit all different kinds of exercises and activities that you like to do in your spare time. To make it harder, you can pull the opposite leg in towards your chest. You just want to make sure that the knee doesn't pop off the floor, because obviously that's going to reduce the efficacy of the stretch. The second stretch we're going to work on is this 90-90 position, 90 degrees at the front leg, 90 degrees at the back. The back leg is the leg that we're really focusing on here. What we're trying to ensure is that our pelvis is level. You will notice that as you try to get both sit bones on the floor, you're going to feel that same sensation that you experience when you're in the activity that requires you to be here. I would even go as far to say that it's a little bit more intense than that activity. And that's a good thing, because we're going to come here and we're going to work on breathing, relaxing, and encouraging that whole capsule to relax. Bonus option, if you are super tight in the hips and you just can't even get into that position, raise your hips slightly and then work on it. Then come into your 90-90 position with your hips higher. This reduces the intensity on the hip. If you want to make it stronger, you can get your hips back down on the floor and instead raise your ankle, which then increases that internal rotation on that hip.
All right, folks. I wanted to share that because your girl needs to start stretching. Okay? Don't let Daniel hear me tell you this. He's honestly been really trying to convince me to, I don't even know if convince is the right word, but encourage and I don't know, demonstrate how the benefit of stretching every day is. And you know, I'm a young hot tenderoni. I don't be feeling like I need to stretch, but your girl need to stretch. I do. And so I guess I really just kind of wanted to share that with y'all because I need some accountability. Okay, if you comment down to any piece of content, the little yogi emoji, the yoga emoji, okay, I will take that as a moment to stretch. I think I just don't like it because it hurt. It really does. And it's one of those things, the more and more you let it get out of hand, the worse it is to overcome, right? So the longer I avoid it, the harder it's going to be. So I really need to get over it. So as I was playing, I was really trying to sit here and think to myself, you know, what can I promise myself I will do every day? Last week, I showed the clip of the lady cleaning up and doing a task for 10 minutes a day. What I think I will promise myself is I'll do 5 stretches a day, because I tried to do that stretch that she showed in the video, and your girl, it's not going. Nothing about my body was going to achieve that position she was bent up in. Okay. All right, y'all. So with that being said, let's move on to our let's talk topic of the week. All right. So this week, I just kind of want to continue the conversation of, you know, telling y'all about the different spaces and places where you can find your girl, the things that I'm working on in my spare time. Okay. I'm not sitting idly by. Amen. So FoundHer Future, the collective. I know I've mentioned it before, and I wanted to, you know, address it today because I feel like we have a much clearer vision and a little bit better language to kind of use to talk about it. So FoundHer Future is a collective, a space, a place where women can come to find resources to recover, reset, and or rebrand, you know, from corporate burnout, and or never have to experience it in the first place, right? In the collective, we are providing women 18 and up, child, you know. We have participants in their late 30s, their mid 40s. You know, age is not, it's not one of those type of internships where you have to like be in college on the campus. It's not that. we're welcoming women who come with a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, a wealth of desires. And our goal is to create a pipeline, a system, a container to refine and fine tune, those gifts, those experiences that we already have as women, and to align them with our God-given design and plan, right? A lot of times, as multi-hyphenate, as successful Black women, we find ourselves overextending, overdoing it, going above and beyond for systems, people, programs that don't really value us, that don't have our best interests in mind. And then we look up in 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and we burnt to the bone. We burnt out to the bone. We've worn ourselves down, worn ourselves ragged, trying to make this company, these people, this brand, a success when they could care less about us, right? And so Kimberly and I's question is, well, how do we create something that allows people to come out of that system or never have to even go in? And thus FoundHer Future was created, right? And it was like, well, we need some interns, right? We need some people who can do some things, to help us like post content and stuff. And then it became this bigger mission of creating an ecosystem of women who we can bounce off of and lean on and utilize as talent, as a resource, as a therapist, as a psychologist, as a donor, as whatever we need. But we know they are on the same wavelength, right? Because they've gone through this collective, they've gone through this program. They have this basis of information. And so the emojis for FoundHer Future are the butterfly and the bamboo emoji, representing growth and transformation. We are calling, so we have a 3 parts, right, to the FoundHer Future program. It takes place over the course of, I want to say, 35 weeks. And in those 35 weeks, the first 10 weeks of the program, you go through Discover Your Destiny, right? This is where the women in the program are able to understand who they are, but really how they are, how they were designed, how they were created, how their communication style shows up, how they want to impact the world, who they do and don't want to be, right? How their gifting can be used for good, for bad, for productivity, for derailment, all that kind of stuff they understand in Discover Your Destiny. And then in the second part of the program, we apply that knowledge now to the brand, to the company, to the idea, to the sort of the business side of who we are, whether that's how we show up in an executive space, working for a company, or if that's how we show up in our own space in universe, being entrepreneurs and starting our own business, but really, kind of understanding the branding and marketing piece, which is my specialty, behind, being this future forward woman, this woman who's able to build out and manage a universe, because not only is she living utilizing business principles, but she's also honoring her spirituality and her divine creation and divine nature. And then the third and final part is the chrysalis. This is the graduation ceremony. This is the capstone project that we have our participants go through, that kind of finalizes and solidifies their transformation from, caterpillar to butterfly. In that process, we are able to provide our participants an opportunity to showcase all that they've learned and all that, they've come to understand and know about themselves. It's a low key, like, sorority kind of vibes, kind of how we're setting it up. But it is intentioned to create a community, a collective, of these beautiful butterflies all over the world, that know and can have a home base, right? Can have some level of knowing that there are other women in the world who understand and have gone through what I am and have gone through, and they care to come out on the other side the same way that I do, right? They care to use the resources, knowledge, information to not only uplift and support themselves, but other people as well, right? So that all of this effort and energy that we're individually putting in, we can hone it in and concentrate it and lift us all up collectively. So that is the FoundHer Future collective, and we are taking applications year round. We are currently in a collective, so we won't be taking any new participants in this particular collective, but next year when we start up again, we'll take new participants. However, applications are open year round, so you can apply now, and your collective will start when it starts in 2027. So you can visit tinyurl.com/FoundHerFuture. Again, that is tinyurl.com/FoundHerFuture to find more information about the application process for the collective, if that's something you or somebody you know would like to be a part of. All right, y'all. So, before we get out of here, I have to give y'all a conversation challenge. So this week, my question is, are you being intentional with sharing your resources in ways that you and your community can benefit from, right? That is the heart, the essence of FoundHer Future. We want to be able to provide resources and gain access to resources as well, if we're being honest, right? That not only I can benefit from, but my community can benefit from, but I also want to be able to provide those things as well. So I'm sharing what I got, right? So are you sharing your resources in ways that you and your community can benefit from? I would love to hear from you, hear your responses in the comments. Give me some feedback, all right? If you want to find more Let's Talk Sis, you can connect with the sisterhood on Facebook and just search up the Let's Talk Sis podcast. We post content, special announcements over there all the time. And we're also down to the Instagram and TikTok at the Let's Talk .sis podcast. Okay, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Let's Talk .sis podcast. All right, and if you have not done so already, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast channel. Again, that helps us to grow and keep the conversation going. All right, now if you didn't learn anything, or if you didn't find this episode helpful in any kind of way, girl, I don't know if you were listening, because we dropped some gems. Okay, I dropped some good juicy stuff. All right, please go back and listen again, and also you can share this episode with those that you love. I love y'all for joining me, and I'll be right back here next week with another episode of Let's Talk Sis. Bye.